In a recent video, we towed this 2025 Polaris Xpedition behind the 2025 Toyota Tundra TRD Rally Edition. Well, today we are going to put this Polaris to the test right here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. There are a lot of good reasons to pick a side-by-side over a cheap Jeep, but comfort typically isn't one of them, because most side-by-sides expose you to the elements. The Polaris Xpedition line fixes that by maintaining extreme capability, but also including a fully enclosed cab. Yes, with heat and air conditioning. That makes this a very attractive side-by-side for all seasons. We are going to drive it, but first, let's take a look at some of the key features. This is a 2025 Xpedition XP5 Northstar. The Xpedition is powered by a 114 horsepower ProStar 1000 Gen 2 engine. This has a 12.5 gallon tank for a total range of about 200 miles. The air intake is mounted high, and all the electrical is sealed from the elements. It has a 2,000 pound towing capacity, 14 inches of ground clearance, and Fox QS3 shocks with 15 inches of travel, all standard. Because this is the XP, it has an accessible dump bed in the back that can carry up to 600 pounds. The winch is rated for 4,500 pounds. This is a 4-door 5-seat model. It measures 64 inches wide. It also comes with the JBL audio and Ride Command GPS 7-inch touchscreen system. And yes, it even includes a backup camera. Now, unfortunately, this one does not include a front camera, but like all Polaris side-by-sides, the option list is long and you can go crazy customizing this exactly the way you want it. Yes, even with a front camera. Price of this trim starts at $36,000. So of course, there is that big question. Couldn't you just buy a cheap Jeep? Well, yes, you could. But that cheap Jeep won't even come close to the capability of this Polaris. So for the testing today, we are going to stick to our Peninsula Proving Grounds. We're going to go through all of the key trails, and then we're going to try out some of the extra features like the winch. So a quick note about safety. I did sign a document as part of my loan agreement of this Polaris that I would wear a helmet while operating it. So yes, even if I drive this vehicle 3 feet, you will see me wearing a helmet. Obviously, if you have one of these on your own property, you can do whatever you want. But I recommend safety. So just like a normal car, this does have a windshield. Neat trick on this windshield, like a Jeep, you can pop it out like that. We also have side windows, and that also includes power windows, I'd like to add. I mean, this thing is like this close to being a regular truck. The transmission is a CVT. Now, the funny thing here is that you have PR and D, but not really D. You have an L and an H, so you have low and high range. Tooling around, obviously, you want to be in high range. And really, the best thing about a side-by-side is the amount of suspension travel. You have like 15 inches of it on this thing, which is absolutely nuts. So to test it, we're going to go through the same courses that we took the Toyota Tundra through, but we're going to go a lot faster than normal because side-by-side, baby. Right, so here, as far as setup, we don't have a lot we need to worry about. I do need to make sure that I'm in 4-wheel drive mode. There are 3 different modes: 1-wheel drive, rear 2-wheel drive, or 4-wheel drive. I'm just going to put this into low range, so we have a low crawl ratio. I'm also going to set the drive mode to comfort. And yeah, I think that's it. Now, this does not have a front camera, but it is an option. It's going to listen for that long wheelbase, see if there's any grinding. I think we'll be fine since I just drove a Tundra through here. obviously we can go a lot faster. There is like such a great approach angle on this thing, such great departure angle. I mean, it really is. It's built for this. Okay, and then through the little mud crisscrosses here. Oh yeah, no problems. Add a little throttle, we're golden. And then we have the moguls, don't really need to slow down for them. Just go on through, hardly feel them. Up and over the sand slide, yeah, again. What? Okay, take the hardest line right here. Again, no big deal. Easy. Okay, let's try a harder trail, shall we? So now we're going to try our hardest trail here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds, and I am thinking it's going to be absolutely no big deal for this thing, because of course it's not. Super easy here. Even the big ditch. Now, one thing we have to be careful about with this thing is that side-by-sides can be a bit top-heavy, and you can roll them. It's like they're kryptonite, right? But we do have a long wheelbase here. Let's see if we can get into this. Yeah, no problem. Ooh, a little rubbing, actually. Now, the one thing that these are not very good at is like rock crawling. Oh, I'm in high. I should be in low there. Simply because the CVT is not really designed for that really low speed crawly action. If you're going to do a lot of that, then obviously an older Jeep would make a lot more sense. Or even a cheap brand new one if you can get one. Okay. It is a little hard to tell what gear I'm in sometimes. Okay. Yes, let's go. Move along. Now this was a big deal for our Land Rover Land Cruiser Ineos Grenadier test, but obviously, yeah, here, no big deal. So obviously, in terms of capabilities, this thing is pretty much unstoppable. That's why people get this. And the fact that it's fully enclosed really makes this just so nice. I mean, that was my biggest complaint, I think, with the Ranger that I had recently last year. It was always cold and wet because I lived in the Northwest. Shift into high. But with this thing, it's no big deal. Sand pit, let's try that. Okay, sand pit, let's see how we do here. Into the hole, out of the hole. Ah. And I love there's like, the approach angle is no big deal because it's all tire, of course. Nice. One thing that would be nice would be rear view mirrors, actually. I'm constantly looking back and like, look, tree right there. Hard to tell. You're used to it from driving a car, obviously. Hit anything? I think we're good. I mean, the upside is it is mostly tire. Here we go. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay, this has been fun, but let's find some work we can do, right? Okay, winch time. So this is a 4,500 pound winch. This tree is obviously not that heavy, so we should be fine. Okay, stop. Okay, let's pull it in. Okay, there we go, and then just keep pulling the tree. Boy, this is so much easier than actually carrying that tree. That's a very heavy tree. See how heavy that tree is? Rolling, digging. Okay, now that we got this out, we're gonna, and got it aligned, we're gonna go ahead, let it out a little bit. We're then gonna roll the winch back in, we're gonna flip this around, and we're gonna tow it out. So this has a towing capacity of 2,000 pounds, which of course means you can also use it to drag stuff around the property, which is kind of honestly how I use a truck quite a lot. Use that backup camera, not bad. It's a little slow. I wish it had a higher frame rate, to be honest. It's not that cold. Boop, and there we go. So the Polaris comes with a 2-inch receiver hitch. However, I need to chain this up, so I went ahead and put a Curtis loop on the back so I can just hook it and go. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it in low so I have the most multiple of power. Let's do it. I can hardly feel it's there. Okay, I can kind of feel it. So the Polaris Xpedition is probably the first time I've driven a side-by-side, and I'm like, you know what? That is a really practical vehicle. And mostly it's because they're typically all open. And in the Pacific Northwest here, I mean, we either have rain or showers. Those seem to be the two major weather systems that we get, with occasional snow. So to have glass on the front, glass on the sides, fully enclosed cab with heat and air conditioning, it really does transform the side-by-side experience. That said, there is still a downside with these things. They are very, very loud. Also, they are a little top heavy, so this isn't something that you want to slide sideways, at least confidently. Now, the benefit with this setup, of course, is the suspension. To put suspension like this on a cheap Jeep would cost a fortune. Here, it comes from the factory this way. Plus, you also get the winch, again, from the factory. So you basically can drop 45 grand on this thing and hit the trails that weekend. And then it's not your daily driver, so you can just put it away till next time you go out. Now, yes, it is a lot of money, but if you are a hunter, if you work on a farm, or if you have VIP guests and you need to tour many acres, this is kind of the perfect vehicle for it. So yeah, I'm really stoked. I love this thing. Be sad to give it back. Before we do give it back though, I'm gonna try to do at least one more adventure with it. So be sure to hit subscribe, leave a comment below. Is this something you would get, or would you spend the money on a cheap Jeep? Can't wait to talk about it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you again right here real soon.